YouTubers. Thank you for joining in with me. Even those that are replaying, thank you so much. Listen, y'all know I'm here for the Diddy trial updates, and we're gonna see what's gonna take place, what took place on today. So let me go to my source, which is Washington Post, and we're gonna get started. I hope y'all have been having an amazing day. My day started very late because I was up late, had to finish a project for my production, for my stage play, which we'll talk about that later. All right. So I just want to get through this as far as dealing with the updates. And we're going to start from the top of the morning. And I believe it's at 10:20 a.m. I believe, let me make sure. Okay, so no, we're gonna go further back at 9:30 a.m. And thank you again for joining Apostle V with daily live pop-ups. Here Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and pretty much go from one platform to the next. So this week I'm on YouTube. All right. So if you are coming through for the first time, thank you. I give you thumbs up for coming in and joining me. And I appreciate you for dropping in. And if you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. All right. So we are at 9:30 a.m. and it begins from the Washington Post by saying Judge Aaron Subramanian. I keep pronouncing this judge's name wrong. Sorry. So let me just give him a solid and say Aaron Sub. Judge Aaron Sub grilled the parties about potentially leaked information published in a news article before testimony kicked off Tuesday morning. Both teams of lawyers denied leaking the sealed details. Dilek, hey, all is well. I hope all is well with you. Thank you for joining in. First on the stand will be an agent who started testifying Monday about the logistics of Sean Combs' freak-offs, presenting evidence such as texts, flight records, and hotel bills. Combs' former assistant, Brendan Paul, is expected to testify later in the day. He was called into the courtroom briefly a few moments ago to be granted immunity. Combs decided he did not want to be in the courtroom for that immunity proceeding. Let me see. Brendan Paul is expected to testify later today, which was Combs' former assistant. So he was granted immunity because he's giving some vital information, y'all. This was Diddy's ex-assistant. So it goes on at 10:14 a.m. The jurors are being shown timeline charts illustrating texts and calls between Sean Combs, Cassie Ventura, and others. This is probably a way for prosecutors to summarize certain key dates and to make it easier for the jury to visualize chats surrounding certain events. All right. So that was at 10:30. And no, was that 10:30? No, 10:14. So another inscription was at 10:14 a.m. as well, which they did a flashback to Monday. Juror number 6 is dismissed. I don't know if y'all have been following the Diddy trial, but the Judge Aaron Sub, dismissed juror number 6. And this is what it says again. Monday started with some drama when the judge excused juror number 6, saying the man had irreparably damaged his credibility by giving conflicting accounts about where he lived, which I don't know why it was such a struggle for him to give his um, direct, residency. I'm not sure why. But it was a speculation because he basically saw that it was a high profile case and he wanted to be a part of it. All right. So now you were on the spotlight, juror number 6, which juror number 6, a 41-year-old who works at a correctional facility. Now you work as a police official, pretty much. Told the court during jury selection that he lived in the Bronx with his fiancee and daughter. But after an offhand comment to a jury service staffer and further questioning by the judge, it was revealed that his girlfriend and daughter live in New Jersey and that he sometimes lives with his aunt in the Bronx. So there's a discrepancy right there. Micah's, I don't know what Shry is, but I don't know if that means hi in your language. But hello, thank you for joining. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe. The juror also gave differing answers as to which home was his primary residence. Sub was initially poised to dismiss the juror Friday afternoon, but the defense pushed back against losing a black juror. So he was a black man, 41-year-old, not security, but correctional officer. The record raised serious concerns as to the juror's candor, Sub said in his Monday ruling, adding that it was concerning that juror number 6 appeared to be shading his answers to try to remain on the jury, a big red flag for the court generally. Sub also quoted the defense's own words back to it, that this jury was already among the most diverse to ever serve in the district. Juror number 6 has been replaced by an alternate. So they did not say who the alternate was, if it was a male or female, what race they are, I don't know. But let's continue. So at 10:20 a.m., call me, the cops are here. Sean Combs texts Cassie Ventura on the day he punched, kicked, and dragged her in the hallway of a Los Angeles hotel in March 2016. The jury is viewing such text on a timeline chart, which allows the prosecution to package the voluminous mobile phone evidence in this trial in a more understandable way. So I'm trying to get why did he ask Cassie to call him, because the cops were here or at the hotel after he just finished, abusing her back on that video in March 2016. So that's a little puzzling to me. So at 10:30 a.m., Sean Combs was infuriated at Cassie Ventura for leaving the hotel after he beat her in 2016, which she previously testified happened when she tried to leave a freak off. Wow. In a subsequent text message shown to the jury, Combs told Ventura that he was about to be arrested, which was not true. Thanks, he added. These texts aren't new evidence. The jury saw them during Ventura's testimony last month, but they are being represented as prosecutors emphasize their narrative in what might be the last week of the government's case. So as you see, they may be cutting this case short, as they noted on yesterday, that it may end by tomorrow. So let's see if that happens. So it goes on to 11:04 a.m. The jury is on a morning break. Before the break, jurors were shown a timeline of phone calls between Sean Combs and a hotel security guard who was paid off in March 2016 to help Combs bury the video recording of his chilling assault on Cassie Ventura. In that footage, Combs is seen punching, kicking, and dragging the singer and actress as she hurriedly tried to leave the hotel after a freak-off in a nearby room. So if you're just joining, I'm going over the Diddy trial updates as of today. which is June 17th, 2025. And my source where I'm reading from is the Washington Post. That's pretty much where I've been pretty much giving my updates from, more so than any other source, because it's just spot on. And they're, more so reporters that are inside the courtroom as we speak. So it continues 11:25 a.m. and this writing is entitled "What We Know About Brendan Paul, the former Combs assistant, soon to testify." Okay, another former assistant to Sean Combs, Brendan Paul, is expected to testify later Tuesday, which is today. Paul has been mentioned in at least 3 sexual assault complaints against his former boss and was arrested in connection with the Department of Homeland Security's raid of Combs' Miami home last year. In a lawsuit, music producer Rodney Jones filed against Combs. He alleged that Paul worked as Combs' mule to acquire and distribute drugs and guns. Paul was also called a drug mule in Grace O'Marquez's lawsuit against Combs and his son Christian. Paul's lawyer, Brian Bieber, denied the allegations. A man named Manzaro Joseph also accused Paul of drugging him, which Paul's lawyer said in a statement to the Washington Post was literally possible to have occurred. Brendan was still in high school in Ohio at the time, having never even set foot in West Palm Beach in his life. On March 25th, 2024, the day 2 of Combs' homes were raided. Paul was arrested in Florida and charged with drug possession. The charges were later dropped after Paul completed a pre-trial diversion program in December, according to court records. So that's just a synopsis of Sean Combs' ex-assistant, Brendan Paul. So it goes on at 12:02 p.m. The defense is trying to undermine the government's case by suggesting Delisa Penland, a special agent with the U.S. Attorney's Office, left out important context about Sean Combs' relationship with Cassie Ventura when she presented a timeline of their texts. In raunchy messages shown to Penland during cross-examination, Ventura expressed enthusiasm for aspects of her freak-offs with Combs and various male escorts. The defense has argued that Ventura was a willing player in the elaborate sexual episodes, which involved the copious amounts of baby oil, candles, drugs, and alcohol in outside participants, and often lasted for days. According to evidence at the trial, Combs held freak-offs with various women, including Ventura, one of his long-time regular girlfriends. And it seems like that Cassie was in a relationship with him the longest, if I'm not mistaken. If it wasn't, then it was Kim Porter, because she had 3 children with him. So trying to see was she with him the longest. I'm not sure. However, it continues 12:12 p.m. I had a great time with you this weekend. Thank you, Sean Combs wrote to Cassie Ventura in a message shown to Special Government Agent Delisa Penland during her cross-examination. Me too. I love you. I miss you, Ventura wrote back. The defense is trying to highlight another side of the violent and turbulent relationship between Combs and Ventura, one that allows for the possibility Ventura consented to their group sex episodes despite prosecutors' claims. While Combs' lawyers have conceded that he was sometimes physically abusive, they have also argued that the federal charges he faces do not apply because Ventura and other victims were voluntary participants in his sexual lifestyle, which was true. That's what I was saying from the beginning, from day one. These charges, considering sex trafficking, doesn't apply. Maybe the racketeering because they were bringing in sex workers, but the sex trafficking And I forgot what the other charge was, but it's just not lining up, y'all. All right. Hey, Ted. Thank you for coming in, dropping in. Um, all right. So the writings continue to go. 12:27 p.m. Defense lawyer Tenny Geragos is playing sexually explicit footage for the jury as she cross-examines Special Agent Delisa Penland and tries to suggest that Cassie Ventura and Sean Combs had a more complicated relationship than the prosecution contends. The public is not able to see or hear freak-out footage played during the trial, so it is unclear what exactly the jury is seeing. And I can't imagine what they seen or what they saw today or what they've been seeing throughout the whole case. So at 12:45 p.m., the court at that time is on a lunch break. Okay, so now it's 2 hours ago. We're back from the lunch break with more cross-examination of Delisa Penland, a special agent with the U.S. Attorney's Office. All right, so then it goes on to continue 1 hour ago. The title of this writing is Ventura Text Could Suggest to Jury She Had Free Will. So it says text conversations between Cassie Ventura and Sean Combs being shown to the jury could help support a key element of the defense's case, that Ventura had free will in their relationship to make decisions, including about her participation in the drug and sex-fueled freak-offs. I've been thinking about one too. Ventura said about the prospect of a freak-off in one text message presented during the cross-examination of summary witness Delisa Penland. In another, I love you so much. You make me a better woman, daughter, sister. Ventura also thanked Combs for showing me love and happiness the way it's supposed to be. While prosecutors say Combs was an abusive and controlling power figure who used violence and other measures to control Ventura, his attorneys say she was desperate to be close to him and bitter over the fact that he saw other women, including the now deceased mother of some of his children, Kim Porter. Wow. All right, so this is also 1 hour ago. As we approach the end of the prosecution's portion of this trial, their last witness is expected as soon as Wednesday. It seems likely that the defense does not intend to call many witnesses, which is a common strategy. Sean Combs' lawyers have focused on countering the prosecution's narrative during their cross-examinations, as we saw just now in the presentation of flirtatious, loving, and sexual texts between Combs and Cassie Ventura during the cross-examination of Delisa Penland, a special agent with the U.S. Attorney's Office. Combs' defense is aiming to highlight for the jury communications that support their counter-narrative that far from being a sex trafficking victim, Ventura had agent that far from being a sex trafficking victim. Sorry, y'all, I'm fumbling. Ventura had agency in her relationship with Combs and sometimes was the one to suggest having freak-offs involving other men. Okay. So, what do y'all think about that? I believe it's just that she was so programmed to having freak-offs that she felt like that was the only way to be next to Sean and try to keep, winning his heart because he was messing with other women. I don't know. What y'all think? That's just my perception from it. Also, an hour ago, after Delisa Penland's cross-examination, prosecutors briefly kept her on the stand to ask about messages that depicted Cassie Ventura as a shattered and abused person. "I'm not a rag doll. I'm someone's daughter," Ventura wrote to Sean Combs in one message. "You treat me like Ike Turner," she said in another, a reference to the abusive husband of singer Tina Turner. Prosecutors argued that Ventura was strictly controlled and manipulated by Combs throughout their 11-year relationship. All right, 1 hour ago as well, prosecutor Maureen Comey just said the government is likely to rest its case Friday, not Wednesday, as had been planned. Wednesday's testimony may no longer may go longer than had been expected, and the court is closed Thursday for the Juneteenth holiday. The jury has been sent home for the day, while lawyers discuss another issue with a juror. On Monday, a juror was dismissed over concerns about his New York residency. This new issue involved a different juror, and it's being handled in a sealed room, so we don't have many details yet. All right, so this was 34 minutes ago. We may not know until Wednesday whether any action was taken during the closed-door inquiry into the latest juror issue. Tomorrow, Combs' ex-assistant Brendan Paul and an agent are slated to take the witness stand. The prosecution is winding down its case after more than a month, but may not rest until Friday, after which we expect a relatively brief presentation by the defense. All right, so this is my last resource from Washington Post. It is 15 minutes ago that this was updated. So this was actually 1 minute ago. The title of it is Special Agent Testifies Over Text to Sean Combs Freak-Offs, and this is a Diddy trial recap. So here's the summary. Summary witness Delisa Penland returned to the stand Tuesday in Sean Combs' sex trafficking trial. Penland, a special agent with the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York, has presented records related to alleged freak-offs with Combs and his ex, Cassie Ventura, one of two women in the trial who alleged they were sex trafficked by Combs. The women consented willingly. Combs' defense team has argued, and they used their cross-examination of Penland to present texts of Ventura expressing enthusiasm for some freak-offs. Brendan Paul, a former Syracuse University basketball player arrested in March on drug-related charges, who was also mentioned in 3 civil lawsuits filed against Combs, is expected to testify Wednesday. The prosecution is expected to wrap up its case Friday, now that both Ventura and the other alleged victim, known by the alias Jane, have completed their testimony. Let me read that again. The prosecution is expected to wrap up its case Friday, now that both Ventura and the other alleged victim, known by the alias Jane, have completed their testimony. The defense is not expected to call many witnesses in this portion, meaning the trial is likely in its final weeks. Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges, and here go the charges again: sex trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution, and he could be sentenced to life in prison if convicted on all accounts. So those are the charges again that he's charged for, which I'm not too sold on the sex trafficking part or the transportation to engage in prostitution. Maybe the racketeering, because he basically had other people in his staffing and groups of people to pay when they had basically brought in what they call sex workers. But I think they really were escorts, to my knowledge. So, so the only thing that he may actually get charged for is racketeering conspiracy. And as I said early on one of my lives, I believe he'll get time, but it won't be for a long time. That's just my thoughts and take from it based on the evidence that was presented. So what do y'all think about this whole saga? It's a saga to me with what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. Hey, Miss Carol. Getaway Tours and Travel. You know I know that name from anywhere. So I don't even know what's going to be the end result for Sean Combs, aka Diddy, aka now he calls himself Brother Love. So let me see, has he Has his mindset changed? Has he had a change? Has he had a change of heart? Does he feel really remorseful for the things that he's done? Because y'all got to remember, drugs were involved, and he's been always under drug influence at these freak offs and whatever parties that he conducts. So we know drugs impair your thinking, impair your thoughts. And a lot of people have said on different platforms, this was nothing that he was just doing just to do, that this was learned behavior, and that it did not start in his adult life. It started when he was a child because of the things that he saw in the home when him and his mother and father were together. So we know that you are a product of your environment, and so I'm not taking up for him, but I've always been saying he is a soul, just like everyone else, every other victim that is a part of this case, anybody that's involved in it, any of his ex-staff, anybody that used to be around him. They were a product of the environment, and they accepted it because of who Diddy is and his influence, and him being a part, of the elite. It's a billionaire, but you gonna tell the billionaire no? And that's the mindset that everybody probably had. Same with Cassie, same with Jane, and whoever else was a victim. So we're going to see what happens tomorrow with the testimonies from Brendan Paul and from, who else did they say? Supposed to be 2 witnesses tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. And then they say they're going to end up most likely closing it out on Friday. For good with the case right now. So I don't know what y'all think, but it's a shakedown. If it's a shakedown, it's a shakedown. All right, so prayers up for everybody that's involved, even Diddy. Because as I said, everybody has a soul. Everybody is apt to being redeemed and forgiven and given another chance. All right, so I'm about to get off of here, trying to find some food, and yeah, we'll come back tomorrow at 4 Eastern Standard Time, and we'll see what these 2 witnesses had to say. And as they said, the courthouse will be down on Thursday in honor of Juneteenth, and then they will be back on Friday. All right, y'all have an amazing day. This is Apostle V signing off with the Daily Life Pop-Up. All right, y'all have a great one. Shalom.